The name is Paul Revere, and here's a guy that says if the weather's clear, can do. This guy says the horse can do, if he says the horse can.
Hello racing fans, and welcome to another edition of Handicappers Corner, brought to you by the Derby Bar and Grill. I'm Mike Heads, along with Drew Forrester. We're going to go through the Saturday, May the 18th races at Hastings Racecourse. We're also going to touch on the Preakness Stakes, of course, the second duel of the Triple Crown, as Orb is going to face 8 other rivals, going a mile and 3/16 in Baltimore, Maryland. Should be good.
Yeah, always a great day, of course, Preakness Day, and this is really telling whether we get the big party 3 weeks from now. If Orb can make it 2, then, of course, it creates a lot of hype for horse racing if he is live going into the Belmont.
Speaking of stakes races, we did have a very impressive performance last weekend by a filly called, I think so. We'll pick up the race at the gate, and she drew the inside. She was down in the 1 hole. She was wearing saddlecloth number 2, broke sharply under Aaron Grider, and really made no mistakes.
Yeah, Grider makes a nice move here. He comes out to see if anybody's going to challenge him. Enrique Gonzalez comes up on his outside here, but there's not a lot of pressure on her. And you'll see by the fractions that she gets away pretty easy. Terry Jordan's horse. Yeah, Courtroom Kiss
got to set a nice step outside, but I thought Gold Strike Glory would put a little more pressure on.
But she kind of sits and waits to see what happened, and by this point now it's 23-2, and filly with this kind of talent, you can't let her get away, even not eyeballed, even if it is 23-2. Just on her own, she's pretty relaxed. Courtroom Kiss, you can see Enrique starting to ask Courtroom Kiss a little bit, and Scott Williams on Gold Strike Glory coming up on the outside here. And Grider never really even asked this filly. With the 46, almost 47 half, 46 and 4 half, he never even asked to hit her. Yeah, that's pretty soft for her.
Pretty soft, and he's just, cruising. And this filly goes like a hoop around a barrel around the turn here.
Yeah, she's not a really big filly. She fits the track well, and he never even asked her, really, just hand rides her.
The amazing part, though, is the final, that's a 23 flat quarter around the turn, and then a 6-1 down the lane. It's like 16 and 1/5, and it's like crazy how,
it is
how impressive.
Super impressive,
yeah, there was a lot in the tank. I know it was an easy trip, but very impressive debut run for, I think so, here at Hastings for Troy Taylor.
I think, they're definitely going to be interesting to see how she shapes up.
Where she goes
as
from there. She ran like a filly. That filly could be in California.
She could go to the real races, perhaps. Yeah, she could go to the show.
That was impressive. That was really impressive.
Yeah.
And, congratulations to the connections. Well, 7 races at Hastings on Saturday. Let's move on to the first. Got some $10,000 3-year-olds going to go 6.5 furlongs. I've gone to the 2-horse Allison's Tiger 2. This guy has been caught up on hot paces in his first 2 starts.
Yeah.
I just don't see any pace in here. I think this horse finally gets to settle, get an easy lead, and can dictate the tempo and should run on. I'm going to hope that's the case. So I'm going to go to the 2 Allison's Tiger 2. And I put the 3 Godheem in for second. This horse has been running well this year, but did take advantage of a pretty hot pace last time and defeated my top selection. But I just think the pace scenario is going to maybe make things a lot closer between those 2. And the price will be quite small, likely, on Godheem.
Yeah.
But I went to the 5, and the 5 after court for third. This horse has been running okay in those $15,000 races, and just a horse that can lay reasonably close to the pace as well. I just don't see a lot of speed in here.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm going to lean to the 2 Allison's Tiger 2. I went 2, 3, and 5.
I went with the 3. I think with a good trip, he might have even won the last one. He got in a fair bit of trouble. And short field today. He does figure to be not too far off the pace, so he should be in a striking position, and I think he's the best horse in the race. I went with him on top. I went with Steve Henson's other runner, the rail horse, Fox Be Gone, in the 2nd spot. It'd be interesting to see how that race that he come out of shapes up. He ran a good race on his opening day. He's been off a little while since then, but he comes back. Closing intentions, actually a filly that ran second in the race, absolutely destroyed field. It was maiden $5,000 fillies, but she's probably, she's okay. So I put Fox Be Gone in the 2nd spot, and your horse, Allison's Tiger 2, your top selection, I put the 3rd spot for the reasons you mentioned. I went 3, 1, and 2 in the opener. On to the second, 4,000 non-2 for 3-year-olds and up, and I went to the rail horse Regal Deputy in here out of the Troy Taylor barn. Aaron Grider takes the call. He didn't get much out of that first race. He ran for maiden 25. He got out. He was just kind of all over the place. Even last time, the maiden 5, he was somewhat ranked, so I think maybe he's starting to figure this game out. He doesn't get much of a number for it, a 37 buyer, but to me, he's an improving horse. He's maybe starting to put it together. This isn't an overly tough aggressive spot to put him in. So I think he can get the job done, and he should be able to dictate the pace in here. The second spot, I put Harold Baraby's Rossino, a horse who is running much tougher races throughout his career. Finally drops into a 4,000 non-2. This fits him pretty well. Amadeo Perez takes the call. And in the third spot, I put Mr. Majestic of the Taylor Anderson barn, Robert Skelly aboard. And a horse that showed some talent last year. Kind of got caught up in higher races and ran in that non-2, non-3, 17.5 condition, which is a lot to ask. And now he drops into a 4,000 non-2. So I'm thinking maybe there's a little bit more upside with him, and I'll take a shot on him. I have 1, 6, and 3.
Yeah, I don't see a ton of speed. I agree with you. I think the pace horse in this race is likely going to win it. I'm going to say the pace horse is the 4-horse Jackman Road, though. Yeah. This horse had the 9-hole, broke well. Just opted to settle out in the 3-path and easily disposed of his rivals. Ottoman took a good run at him, and this horse just drew off again.
Yes,
I was really impressed with the way Jackman Road ran. Stefan Otis out of Foxy Josie. Foxy Josie was more of a sprinter, but perhaps this horse will run on. Michael's Glory ran, I think, 4th or 5th in that race and came back to win for 10 grand. Yeah. So the race has produced a next out winner, which I think has some merit. And I like Jackman. I think this horse will run really well. It's a 4-year-old running against, like, your top selection is a 3-year-old, and it's a little. You'd much rather have the 4-year-olds, especially at this time of year. So I'm going to try Jackman Road to win it. I put the 3, Mr. Majestic, in for second, dropping from 17.5 down here for the 4, right into the non-2s. I think the distance change will help. Here's a horse that's been sprinting, but I think the mile on the 16th will do him some favors. Any other time he went long was against way tougher company. So give him another look. And I put the 6-horse Rossino in for third. This one also coming out of those non-3 7,500s, gets into a non-2 4,000. So he's in his premium condition, and the distance will help him too. His best races last year were going along, so I'll give Rossino a shot. I'm just worried about the pace, and I just think it's going to be 25, 50, and may hurt Rossino and any of the back runners. But I went 4, 3, and 6. On to the third race, some 4,000 non-2s. Going to go a mile and 16th again. These are fillies and mares, though. I'm going to go to the 7-horse Stormageddon. I liked her last time. She got nailed by Free the Blues and Market Time. But still, I thought ran a very game race. I think this horse gets a pretty easy lead and can really. I think this horse will run on. It's just not a big filly, but I just like the way that she's tenacious, and I think she'll run long. And a gamble she runs long. I put the 4 Doreen's Delight, who's the obvious horse in here, in for second. Run a couple of good sprints to tune her up for a mile and a 16th race. Her best races last year were definitely going along. Yeah. But once again, I worry about the pace scenario because she's an off-the-pace horse. And I put the 2-horse Catching Cash, another one on the stretch out. I think this horse will appreciate the distance, and Antonio Reyes will take over, and I think this horse is live as well. I went 7, 4, and 2.
I see it exactly the same way, Mike. I think Stormageddon's 2 races this year have been bang-up races. She's running good.
She's going forward. Good.
And she is, they're not losing her head. They're keeping her right in the right spot for her where she can win, and I think she does it today. As you mentioned, Doreen Delight out of the Harold Baraby barn. Distance definitely going to figure to help her. And Kaching Cash in the third spot, the Mel Snow runner. All the reasons you mentioned. I see it exactly the same way, Mike. Yeah. 7, 4, and 2 for me as well in the third. On to the fourth, 3-year-olds and up, maiden 5,000, going 6.5. And I went to the 3 Pumpkin Moonshine. That last race against Fox Begone, I took Fox Begone as one of my horses in the opening race. Closing Intentions comes back crushed in the maiden 5, as I mentioned. That's looking like a key race for this level of horse. And, 2 decent horses on top of him. So I think Pumpkin Moonshine is the horse to beat in here. The second spot I put Where's Henry? And the bigger question should be, where has Henry been?
Yeah. Here.
Yeah, he was very competitive his 2-year-old year in maiden special weights at Hollywood Park and Del Mar. Or Santa Anita, sorry. Came back, only run twice as a 3-year-old. Just got beat for maiden 20 at Santa Anita, and then disappears. Shows up here for maiden 5. So
6, 7 months since.
Definitely the class horse in here, but there are a lot of question marks around him, which is why he's not my top pick. I just take it a wait and see. I'm not sure what to expect. And at third spot, I put Devil's Cause out of the Monica Russell barn. I've been running much higher. Didn't show much last time, but against much tougher horses. So takes the big drop down to maiden 5. I got him in the third spot. I got 3, 9, and 10.
Yeah, I got the same 3 horses, Drew. I put the 10, though, at Devil's Cause on top. Not a strong pick, but I think you need all 3 horses in your pick 3s or pick 4s.
Yeah.
Actually, this race does kick off the pick 4, the late pick 4 at Hastings, because we do have 7 races. But a devil's cause for me with Amadeo Perez. Big class drop,
Yeah.
as you mentioned. Good third place run first time for the 17.5, but earned him a start again for 17.5 and really ran poorly down on the inside, so the drop is definitely necessary. I think this horse will be very dangerous. The 9, Where's Henry? I just didn't want to leave him out. I don't know what to do with the horse. You got to look at him in
same
the
with me,
paddock.
right? I just
You
put him
got to
there.
look at the horse, see what he looks like. If you're at the track, look at him, see how his appearance is, how he's carrying himself. If he looks pretty good, don't be afraid to go to the windows on him. This is not a tough race at all. His works are decent enough and actually very good. And Dave Wilson rides. And the 3-horse Pumpkin Moonshine, likely a small price, but 3-year-old tackling, the 9 is an older horse. And a little dangerous when you're running them 3-year-old maidens against older horses. So even though that was a third, I know Fox Be Gone and Closing Intentions, it's still the jury's still out for me on that race, whether it's a strong race or an average race. But I went 10, 9, and 3. On to the 5th race, maiden 20 granders. Colts and Geldings going 6.5 furlongs, kicking off the late pick 3. I've landed on the 1-horse, Our Last Call. Very impressive debut run last year against some pretty nice horses. Wildcat ended up beating him that day. Our Last Call went off favored in that race. So the horse had good works going into it. You can draw a lot of conclusions from that when you see the wagering like it was.
Yeah.
And this horse obviously had a lot of upside, ran second. Something major probably happened after the race because the horse has gone to the sidelines, had a lot of time off, but the work tab's been very good. And once again, a 4-year-old tackling a lot of 3-year-olds. So this horse is definitely extremely live. I put the 4-horse Lord Calazar in for second, going to get blinkers. Horse that was kind of stymied in behind horses last time. Ran a much better race second time out. Was coming back in a week, so a little better spacing in between races for Lord Calazar. Does have a work in 101 and change with the blinkers. So might be the speed of the race. I looked at the race.
Yeah.
I want to find the horse that's going to get to the top, and it might be Lord Calazar. He showed enough speed to get close, but he couldn't quite outfoot Leprechaun Kid, who got to the lead, and he was stymied in behind him.
Yeah.
Tried to go through on the inside a couple of times to Darren Grider, and just he wasn't enough horse to get in there. And it took its toll late in the race as the horse got a little tired. But look for this horse to be better.
Put the blinkers on, get him focused. Yeah.
And the 7-horse Peyton's Best. This horse was up on the pace last time, dropped back, came on again. Maybe the blinker change will help him. He's going blinkers on today. So I went 1, 4, and 7.
I agree with your one. Our Last Call. As you mentioned, a lot of things point to this horse.
Yeah.
The work tab, the one race last year, Wildcat. Definitely a horse.
Rosie does a good job.
Rosie does an extremely good job. Very underrated trainer. She doesn't have a whole lot of starts, but they're always well meant. They always run well. That would kind of be a single for me in any exotic tickets. I think this horse is the horse to beat today. The second spot I put Tally Stick. Bit of a question mark. One of the Swift horses that comes over in the package. Comes over from Great Britain. Don't know, maybe he didn't like it. He was running on the turf and the poly track over there. Maybe he didn't like that because he's taken to Hastings well. His works look decent. I like the work tab since he's been here. Other than Our Last Call, I don't think this is an extremely tough maiden 20. The other horses in here kind of have question marks. Are there, can they run? Can't they? We'll kind of wait and see approach. So if this horse takes to this track with his breeding, I can see him making some noise in here. And the third spot, I put number 8, He's No Clark Gable. Owned by
named horse in the
best
race.
named horse in the race. Owned by a good friend of the show and the Derby Barn Grill, Wayne Oliver. If there's one thing they say about Wayne, he's no Clark Gable.
Yeah, no, he's not bad looking, but he's no Clark
He's no
Gable.
Clark Gable. So I put him in third spot. First time starter.
Why not?
See what he has.
Yep.
So I got 1, 9, and 8. On to the 6th race. Fillies and Mares, 5,000 non-winners of the year. And I've gone out to the 9-horse, Remarkably Free, out of the Rob Gilker barn. A mare that's always tough at this level, real hard knocking little mare.
Nice, solid mare.
Yeah, solid mare at this level. And last time, it was her first race of the year, and she went quite wide on the first turn, extremely wide in the second turn, never had any breaks, just missed second. She ran behind Hidden Harbor that day, but Hidden Harbor had a race under her and came out firing on a track that was fairly biased towards the speed, it seemed that day. So I'm thinking Remarkably Free might be able to turn the tables on Hidden Harbor today. I have Remarkably Free on top, Hidden Harbor in the second spot, and Golden Ratio, kind of a hard luck horse that just seems to be kind of on the fringes in these races. But I like the move to Enrique Gonzalez, so I'm going to put Golden Ratio in the third spot. I got 9, 1, and 4.
Yeah, I agree with the 9, Remarkably Free. I see a pile of speed in here. You got the
Should
1,
set up
Hidden
for her,
Harbor. You got the 3, My Bailout. I notice you don't have My Bailout. on the ticket
No.
either. I didn't pick him. Here's a horse that couldn't get back to the winner's circle for the picture, so and has
No
no
work
work.
since,
So I
which
have
is,
no idea why
kinda
this horse
scared me
didn't
off
have
of
to
her.
work. But very scary. 5 weeks between races,
And she'll probably win it.
probably win by 9. Yeah, it's our luck. The 5, Nicotiana, has speed, and there's a pile of speed in here. I think the 9, Remarkably Free, can get a good trip in behind.
Yeah.
Was given a questionable ride last time. I think he was either overconfident or just, I don't know. The horse was 4 wide the whole race, and it was like, wow. I mean,
Yeah,
it
she
wasn't
didn't get
really
any breaks, that's for
I mean,
sure.
this kid rides good races.
Yes, he does.
Avondale, and he
Very
that was
confident
one
rider,
that
so-
I think he'd like to have back.
Yeah.
And could have went inside and chose to go way outside. And this horse lost a lot of ground, and this horse is better.
Should get her
than
nice
that.
and fit for this one, though.
Yes, she'll be much better. So I like Remarkably Free with a good trip in behind the speed going inside.
Yes.
The 8 horse Undo It. I'm going to put this horse in for second. Big class drop
Yeah.
for Pedro Alvarado. I don't know. I don't love the horse, but I can see the horse winning. I can see the horse running 7.
Yeah.
I just don't have a good, strong feeling about Undo It, but I know the horse does have some run to her. And I put the 4 horse Golden Ratio in for third, a horse that might take a nice trip in behind the speed. As I mentioned, there's a lot of speed in the race, and I like the horses that are just sitting in the tracking speed, tracking horses. And I think Remarkably Free, the 9, and the 4 Golden Ratio will be those kind of horses. So I went 9, 8, and 4.
Yeah.
On to the 7th and final allowance event.
Nice race.
Yeah, good $35,000 claimer for older horses. Going the 6.5 panels. I landed on the 7.
Sorry, there is a scratch. Six horse double minor.
Double liner's out. Yep.
Yeah.
Field of 7. Yeah, double liner entered back in a non-2, non-3 on Monday.
Yeah.
But I like the 7 horse Wildcat. I think there's going to be a wild pace in here. Not that he needs a wild pace to win it, but the 1 horse Dollar Waiting on a Dime, the 2 horse Marchoso on Quiet, Golden Triumph. I just see High End Man wants to be in position. I just see a lot of pace in here, and I see Wildcat sitting last early and just making a good, hoping a seam opens. And
He's another one. He's been a hard luck horse. If he gets a few of his races, he gets a trip.
He gets in trouble a lot.
Yeah, he
but
does.
that happens here at Hastings when you're off the pace horse. You get in trouble. It's just
the way it goes,
you got to get some luck. If you want to be an off the pace horse, you got to take your medicine sometimes, and that happens. But Wildcat, I think, is really live in this spot. I put the 8 High End Man. I think he's one of the nicer horses on the grounds. He didn't, he obviously didn't run well in the Derby. He chased a very hot pace, but he's a nice colt. He had bandages going on, and maybe there was stuff going on going into the Derby as well. Might not have been 110%. And just see whenever you see bandages go on, you just is something going on, and you take a shot in the race, but it failed. But the horse has worked well, been freshened up. He's a nice horse. This horse has got gears.
Yeah.
This is one of the nicer horses. He's got a beautiful fluid action. Pete Gregory had him going great guns last year. He won some big races and fast times, and he's a talented horse. He reminds me of a horse called Rear Admiral, who he was a son of Bardic, and he had a beautiful floating like a piece of the action too. That beautiful floating action. This horse has got a nice floating action, and I like the outside with him. So I put him in for second, and I put the 4 Golden Triumph, hard knocking horse that went way too fast on the head end last time. Put him in for third, but I like Wildcat, 7, 8, 4.
I think I went with the 5 Crew Leader. He's got the back class, and as you mentioned, there is a fair bit of pace in here. I think he'll get a nice stalking position. He's a horse that's proven he can fire fresh. Every time he's run for this level, he's been very competitive. Just a back class. Dino's going great guns right now, so I got Crew Leader on top. I do have a couple of those speed horses. I think the tough speed horse in here, I think, are Marchoso. Golden Triumph ran a bang-up race in that optional 40 earlier on.
I just know about Marchoso on a main track. He's a poly track horse, and that was my concern. That maybe he's handled. Like, I haven't seen him in the morning, so I shouldn't really form a strong opinion.
His work pattern looks pretty good here, so I do have him in second, and I have Golden Triumph in third. Golden Triumph ran a bang-up race here on opening day. Got run down by Senior Rojo, who had a beautiful rail trip, snuck up the rail and got him. But I went with Crew Leader, just a back class. I think he's a tough horse in here. So it's one of those races. I go with these horses and I'm leaving out nice horses like Wildcat, like High End Man. Yeah, exactly. This is a race you're going to want to probably go a little deep in. I got 5, 2, and 4. And that'll do it for our handicapping of the 7 race at Hastings Park. We should have our slates coming up now. I believe, Mike, you'll be first. There you are.
I'm up first. Just a quick recap of our Saturday picks, pardon me. Back in race number 1, I went to the 2-horse, Allison's Tiger 2, 2-3-5 for me. In race number 2, I went to the 4, Jackman Road. Hopefully a wire-to-wire performance, 4, 3, and 6. Race number 3, I went to the 7, Stormageddon, another wire-to-wire candidate, 7, 4, and 2. In the 4th race, I went to the 10, the Devil's Cause, 10, 9, and 3. Probably one of the tougher races on the card is the 4th. Back in race number 5, I went to the 1, Our Last Call, 1, 4, and 7. Race number 6, number 9, the Ultra Consistent, Remarkably Free, 9, 8, and 4. And in the 7th and final, I went to the 7, Wildcat, 7, 8, and 4.
And on to my picks. There we go. In the first race, I went to number 3, Got Him, over the 1 and the 2. The second race, I went to the 1, Regal Deputy, over the 6 and the 3. In the third, I agree with Mike on number 7, Stormageddon, over the 4 and the 2. In the fourth, I went to number 3, Pumpkin Moonshine, over the 9 and the 10. On the fifth, again, I'm with Mike here on the 1, Our Last Call, over the 9 and the 8. In the ninth, again, with, the sixth race, again, I'm here with Mike. Number 9, Remarkably Free, over the 1 and the 4. And in the nightcap, the 7th, I went with number 5, Crew Leader, over the 2 and the 4.
Well, Drew, we do have another, obviously, a big race today. The Preakness from
second leg of the Turbo Crown,
Racetrack at a field of 9, scheduled to go postward. I went to the 8-horse Governor Charlie. Bob Baffert
going
runner.
Against the Derby winner. That a boy.
No, I can't. This horse ain't winning the Triple Crown. There ain't no Triple Crown. You get a 45, 109 half, or 109 3/4, you better win.
That's right.
I don't care if you have to go 5 deep. I think things will be a little kinder in the pace scenario. I look for the 2 Golden Cents, the 3 Titletown 5, and Governor Charlie maybe to take a trip in third. I think those are your pace setters. I like the draw for Governor Charlie. I know he doesn't have the resume that other horses have in here, but he's a horse on the improve. He has a lot of potential. Obviously, Bob wouldn't send him here. The works are great at Churchill, 110 and 4. 111. I mean, this horse has been going lights out at Churchill Downs. Chose to skip the Kentucky Derby, go right to the Preakness, and sometimes, a lot of times, the horses that are lying in wait,
Red Bullet,
do very well
on,
against the horses that ran 2 weeks ago in the Kentucky Derby, and they're the fresh horses. And I'm going to try Governor Charlie. I think he gets a good trip on the outside. Big long run to the first turn, so he can get a good trip. I put Orb in for second and Titletown 5 for third, a bit of a price horse with Julian Leperoux for D. Wayne Lucas. But I really like the 8 Governor Charlie. I think it's 8-1.
I don't see them beating Orb today. He's won 5 in a row. His numbers just keep getting better. I think he just keeps getting better. He's in very capable hands with Shug McGahee. And I think the tough one's out of the way. The Derby, with that big field, you can get into a lot of trouble. He did benefit from the pace scenario, I agree with Mike. But I think he's the now horse. He's on his game. He's going for 6 in a row. I like Orb. The second spot, I put Golden Cents. He was part of, up near that pace scenario in the Derby that was super hot. It always is in the Derby, and it always costs horses a lot. If he can bounce back with a similar effort that he had in Santa Anita Derby, I think he can make a lot of noise in here. So I have Golden Cents in second. And the third, I put Oxbow. Gary Stevens riding for D. Wayne Lucas. I got the other Lucas horse in for third. A hard luck horse, just always seems to get in a ton of trouble. It's a smaller field.
Yeah, he's not a bad horse.
He's a fighter, and I like that about him. He always seems to be, digging and fighting towards the wire. So I put Oxbow in for third. I got 1, 2, and 6. Good luck in the Preakness.
Yeah, it should be a lot. D-Wayne's got another one, too. Will take charge. He's got 3 of them in here.
He is not messing around.
He's got 1/3 of the field.
Coming at you with numbers.
Yeah, but, I went 8, 1, and 3. Actually, up on
we got our slates coming up. Here you go.
Here's mine, Governor. And that is correct spelling. It's not Governor, it's Governor. Governor Charlie over Orb and Titletown 5 for me in the 138th Preakness. And Drew will head off to the 1. Orb.
I am going with Orb on top with the Santa Anita Derby winner, Golden Cents, and Kevin Krager in second. And the D. Wayne Lucas and Gary Stevens runner, Oxbow, in for third.
All right, that'll do it for the Saturday edition of Handicappers Corner. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. Don't forget, you can come right down here to the Derby Bar and Grill. If you're not heading out to Hastings, watch the Preakness Radio.
Absolutely. Chef Andy, our chef here, has a special menu made up. Some delicious looking items on there, and great atmosphere in here. The Derby was great. We had, packed house.
It was full.
A lot of fun in here. Yeah, the Triple Crown races is a great spot to watch. So,
well, thanks for tuning in here to Handicappers Corner. We'll see you next time. Good luck, everyone, in your wagers on Saturday.
I'm picking Valentine, 'cause on the morning line, the guy's got him.